So, we want NHL 25 news, eh? Well, here's some for you. Here's some for me to give you, just in case you were wondering if there is any 25 news. No, there is not. But I'm going to take what EA has given us, and we're going to run with it. So, what have they given us so far? They gave us a preseason event part 1. They gave us a preseason event part 2. And with the upcoming event, prediction, of course, we know when NHL 25 might be released. So, if I'm right, give that thumbs up. And when we do get actual information on when NHL 25 is coming out, if this is the date, you know, you got to throw this up. You got to throw this up if I get this date right. But let's dive into why I think NHL 25 will be released on this day, which I'm going to give you the day. I can't give it to you yet, right? We got to tease you, make you wait a bit, and give the reason why I think it's going to be coming out of this date. So let's go look at some things. So why I brought this up and why I'm thinking about this is because of this right here. Preseason event part 2. So preseason event part 2 just dropped. We all thought we were getting a different event, but we didn't. And they didn't change it from preseason event to preseason event part 2 week 1. They kept it at week 5. That's another thing we can keep in mind. So as we're looking at this, we're looking at the layout of everything, right? In preseason event week 1, we had this set right here, which ended up being Jason Robertson. Now people are wondering like when we were going to get Summer of Chell. What if preseason event is Summer of Chell? So, with that playing through our mind and everything leading up to the year, because what event could be an event that follows a preseason, right? Preseason is before the season. So, NHL 25 coming out, what would be the fitting event to follow be before that? Would be preseason. So, we know now with that logic that preseason is going until the end of NHL 24 and right up to the start of 25. With this path of 4 weeks for part 1 and 4 weeks for part 2, that puts us at September 6th. Well, that's not going to be a release date for NHL, and preseason should be the first event. So let's take a look at if we had a preseason part 3, which would give us another 8 MSPs to build another 99. Well, that would take us to October 4th. They're not going to drop it on the day of an event, so it'd be the week after, leading us to October 11th. Now, NHL 24 came out October 6th, first Friday in October. Could that happen again? Sure. But with this logic of preseason going into a part 3, I could be very wrong. Maybe they do an event after preseason, but before the year. Three preseason events. Part 1, 2, and 3 make more sense than another event after preseason, because after preseason should be the year. But October 11th would be the second Friday in October. And if you go back 3 days from October 11th for your early access, you're looking at October 8th, which is a Tuesday. So October 11th would be the full drop, and October 8th would be the 3-day early access, in my opinion. Now that gives us a couple of good things to go over. Like, what would the path of that be? Well, we still need a month of trailers, right? We would get the initial trailer, and then we would get a deep dive of said trailer. So we would get a deep dive of Ishel, we would get a deep dive of Hut, everything involved in those, and we would get a gameplay. Now, we have yet to get anything about NHL 25. That's why I'm gonna say this is my prediction of when NHL 25 will come out, which will be October 11th. And then that just all comes up and adds up from a situation of where they have so much to go over and so much to cover that it makes sense to be October 11th. And if you're wondering about those things that they have to go over and have to cover, first is the 4 trailers, right? You got to get the gameplay, the deep dive on Chell, the deep dive on Hut, and then the original trailer, which they'll show right after the cover athlete. But they normally do the original trailer a week after. They haven't done the cover athlete yet. So if we get the cover athlete tomorrow, because today's Monday, so tomorrow on Tuesday, if we get the cover athlete then we'll get the trailer the following week, which will be the original trailer. And then 3 more weeks of that being gameplay, and then being the 2 deep dives, that brings us to the last week of September, where there would be nothing except build-up and hype into NHL 25. Now, if you're wondering what build-up and hype I am talking about, there would be cards that they drop, the cards of which people are going to be statted out throughout, like regular online play, franchise mode, all that stuff, their stats, their X factors, all that. So there would be that, and then there would be the hype up to the early access. So if they did that, that would get us into the start to middle of the first week of October, and then into the second week of October, which is why I think October 8th will be early access, and the game will drop on October 11th, fully done. Like full game October 11th. Now that seems far away, and you might ask, well, how could it go that long? We're waiting eagerly to play NHL 25. Yes, we are, but it's usually, it's October, and it's usually in and around that time frame of October. So October 8th early access makes a lot of sense for me. And if you're wondering also why I'm showing all these X factors, they're not 99s yet, so they could get all these cards up to 99 while we're waiting for NHL 25, because it's not even like there's one or two that aren't 99. There's a handful of them, and there's a handful of them that should be 99 just so people can have their X factor up to 99. So they got 6 more weeks to do that ish, somewhere in there. Yeah, about 6 more weeks, so they could make that work. But still, this all comes down to tomorrow. We're getting the cover athlete, hopefully, and they give us a date then, and then we still need the pre-order dates and all that. So there is a lot of stuff for EA to cover in a short period of time if we're going to get an October 11th release date. Now, with that being said, I need to say this is all prediction on no information. This is just rattling through my brain of something and a good timeline that we could use. What do you think? Is this a good timeline of when we could see NHL 25? Or do you think we're going to get it later, sooner? What is your opinion? But this is my timeline on NHL 25 being released October 11th. And that would line us up perfectly with another 4 weeks of preseason part 3, which would make sense because preseason would be before NHL 25, like I said, and preseason would effectively be the event that took over for Summer of Chell. So do we get a 3rd week of these preseason sets? Do we get a 3rd week of MSPs? And do we get NHL 25 October 11th early access October 8th? Because I'm hoping so. Obviously we'd love it sooner, but it all fits up with the timelines of the cover athlete, the pre-order, the 4 trailers they gotta release, and then the hype of the franchise mode cards. It all lines up with a part 3 of preseason, all lands October 11th, guys. Does that make sense to you? This is, again, I just want to say this is a guess, this is a prediction on the information that we have at hand. I don't want you thinking that this means the game is coming out October 11th. This is my thought. Leave in the comment section down below your thought, because I am curious where you guys are at and how many of us are honestly ready for NHL 25. Because I'm literally just sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for this game to come out, because I feel like we have all played through, done everything we want to do in NHL 24. It is way too early to want 25. They just dropped Madden, they got to drop FIFA, and then they're going to drop hockey, and they still have to give us information, and they still have to hype up NHL 25. So that's going to take about a month, guys, and that will lead us right to the 11th. Leave in the comment section down below what you think. I'm curious to see your thoughts on this prediction of October 11th being the release date. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time. Ciao, ciao.